Hi, I'm Travis Roundy, and I'll be presenting James Alderson's story. Um, James Alderson was an accountant in a small town in Montana, and he worked in the medical industry. And one of the things he did was to keep track of expenses for his company, expenses that they would get reimbursed by the government. So what happened was after some time, they had new leadership take over his company, and this new leadership wanted him to keep a second set of books that would have higher expenses and that they could charge the government to get these higher expenses. For James Alderson, this was a violation of his code of ethics. He didn't believe that having two sets of books was ethical. He thought that finding more expenses to reimburse was unfair and not honest in dealing with the government. So what happened is he talked to a supervisor, and the supervisor wanted him to keep the second set of books, and James Alderson did not want to comply with that. So in the end, he was let go from the company. He spent many years building a case against the medical industry, against this practice of increasing reimbursement expenses and charging them to the government. And after many years, he was able to finally, the case was resolved, and the ethical problem was resolved, and he ended up receiving millions of dollars in compensation. But it took a long time for that to happen, and James Alderson was very patient and was very determined to see that succeed. And so in his story, the IMA has a set of standards that they use to resolve ethical conflicts. For James Alderson, I don't think he really follows these steps that the IMA has established. Mostly because he was let go from the job early on, and he wasn't really working within his company trying to resolve that conflict. But the IMA standards say that first you should discuss with an immediate supervisor, which James Alderson did. He talked to his immediate supervisor, but because his immediate supervisor was involved with the conflict, it didn't resolve the issue. And so after you talk to a supervisor, you're supposed to go up to the next level. In Mr. Alderson's case, he was let go and was unable to pursue conflict resolution with a higher level of authority within his company. The second step would be to go to the IMA hotline and get advice from them, as well as step 3, you would consult an attorney and make sure you know your legal obligations in case of the case. James Alderson did contact lawyers, and as he started to build a case when he was let go, and outside of the company, was able to build a case through lawyers and through evidence. And then number 4, if you're still within the company and the conflict hasn't been resolved, at that point you should leave the company. In James Alderson's case, he was fired, and so he didn't really have that choice to continue with the company and then leave the company later on. I think James Alderson falls more on Badaracco's advice. Badaracco's advice is to basically take things slow and try to find a solution that's going to better the whole company, and that's not going to necessarily harm any individual or the company itself. His advice is to be patient, basically. And I think James Alderson followed this advice more closely than he did the IMA statements. He does this because he spends several years trying to resolve this ethical conflict, and it's very slow work. He's very patient, he's very determined, and he doesn't ever give up on resolving this ethical issue. And so he follows Badaracco's advice, in that he takes his time trying to resolve the ethical solution in the best way possible. In this case, it's building a case that's strong enough to take down the medical industry. And then he's searching for that solution that's going to be the best one. So take it slow, find the best solution is Badaracco's advice. And I think James Alderson really follows what Badaracco's advice is. And in James Alderson's case, he was able, after a very long time, a lot of patience, was able to resolve the ethical conflict that he had. So this has been James Alderson's story. Thank you.